Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert, brother and sister, run the Green Gables farm. They plan to adopt a hard-working and obedient boy to help with the household. Miss Cuthbert, a rather strict woman, declares that she will not tolerate a lazy child in their home. Despite her anxiety, she is glad that her brother will have an assistant. Marilla sets the table, reminding her brother that he forgot to wash his hands before the meal. After dinner, the man sets off in his buggy to meet the child at the railway station, while his sister waits at home in nervous anticipation. But they do not yet know that a mistake has been made and that not a boy, but a girl, has been put on the train. And Shirley, a 13-year-old orphan, shudders as she recalls the horrors of life in an orphanage. She worked for Mrs. Hammond, taking care of her 8 children. Mrs. Hammond often treated the girl cruelly and insulted her, and developed a rich imagination as a defense mechanism, a way to shield herself from all the bad things happening around her. Now the girl believes that an adoptive family will give her a chance at a happy life, and asks her escort, Mrs. Spencer, a million questions. Why have the Cuthberts never married? Perhaps they both once suffered a tragic love. As agreed, Matthew comes to meet the child. How great is his surprise when instead of a boy, he sees a girl. It seems the orphanage has made a mistake, but Mrs. Spencer has already left anyway. Matthew does not know what to do, and approaches him herself to introduce herself, saying how grateful she is to them for adopting her. Matthew is unable to utter a single word. Seeing the disappointment on his face, the girl says that although she is skinny, she is still strong, and promises that she will not disappoint her new family. Matthew has no choice but to take the girl with him, and chatters non-stop, saying that she has never had a home before. That is why she is determined to become the best daughter for the Cuthberts, who never found marital happiness, but may have always dreamed of a beloved child. Confused, Matthew helps Anne into his buggy. Along the way, the girl continues to chatter. Despite her difficult childhood, she is very kind and cheerful, and knows how to find joy in small things. Meanwhile, Marilla is visited by their neighbor, Rachel Lynde, a lover of gossip. The woman wonders where Matthew has gone with his buggy. Usually he does not leave the farm. Perhaps he has gone to fetch a doctor. Miss Cuthbert is always reserved, merely says that everything is fine. But Rachel is not about to give up so easily and continues to press her. In the end, Marilla gives in, and admits that she and Matthew have decided to adopt a child. Meanwhile, Anne and Matthew continue their journey to the farm. The girl still cannot believe that she will live in such a beautiful place. Rachel tries to dissuade Marilla from this idea, for letting a stranger into the house, even a child, is far too dangerous. Marilla admits that this worries her as well, but lately Matthew has been having heart problems, so the boy would help him with the household chores. Of course, this decision did not come easily to them. Rachel once again warns her neighbor, saying that the child might burn down the farm or do something even worse. But there is not a drop of malice in someone like Anne. She sincerely admires the landscapes they pass along the way. Gradually Matthew's heart begins to thaw, and does not even speak ill of Mr. and Mrs. Hammond, for whom she worked and from whom she often endured cruel treatment. The girl only says that people often get angry when they have many children, and then recalls how once, while punishing her yet again, Mr. Hammond died of a heart attack. At last they reach the farm. More than anything in the world, Anne is afraid that this is only a dream and that she is about to wake up. But it is all real. When Marilla sees the girl, her bewilderment knows no bounds. The woman loudly voices her indignation, declaring that they were expecting a boy. Matthew explains that there was only a girl at the station, whom Mrs. Spencer had left there. Miss Cuthbert intends to send Anne back to the orphanage. Hearing this, the girl cannot hold back her tears. In an instant, all her disappointment comes crashing down on her. She had already believed that she would find a family, but it seems that this was never meant to be. Marilla asks the girl to calm down and behave properly. Today, of course, they will not send her away. The house turns out to be just as wonderful as Anne had imagined. The girl would almost rather Matthew had not taken her from the station at all, because it is even worse for her to see a life she will never have anyway. Marilla feels sorry for her, but they need a boy specifically, someone to help on the farm, and assures the woman that she is capable of doing all the same work boys do. She is strong and enjoys being outdoors rather than shut up in the kitchen. But Marilla is categorical. At supper, the girl does not even touch her food. She has no appetite, and apologizes, saying that everything looks truly delicious. She is not refusing to eat out of rudeness, and is sinking into a whirlpool of despair. All evening she cries inconsolably. When Marilla wishes her good night, the girl says through tears that this night cannot be good, it will be the worst night of her life. Matthew sits thoughtfully. Marilla senses that he does not want to send Anne back to the orphan asylum. The woman reminds him that they do not need a girl. Matthew objects, saying that she needs them. However, Marilla remains firm, insisting that they will take the girl back the very next day. Matthew cannot go against his sister's word. All night long, Anne cries and cannot stop. When she wakes up, the girl pretends to be a beautiful princess, imagining that this morning is not what it truly is. Miss Cuthbert enters the room and sternly tells the girl to pack her things, and had hoped to the very last that the woman would change her mind. The girl says goodbye to the house that could have been hers as well. Marilla watches closely to make sure and does not steal anything. At breakfast, the girl demonstrates her household skills in an attempt to make Miss Cuthbert reconsider. But the woman believes it was a bad idea from the start. They will never be able to make a family with a child who is not related to them by blood. These words make Anne recall how after her husband's death, Mrs. Hammond gave her up. The woman was planning to move in with her sister and had no need for an extra mouth, despite the fact that the orphan asylum was overcrowded. Marilla decides to take the girl herself and meet with Mrs. Spencer to discuss this misunderstanding. The woman harnesses the buggy. Matthew says goodbye to Anne, telling her that he wishes she could stay, and hugs the man. She will never forget him. The woman and the girl set off on their journey. Despite her sadness, the girl resolves to enjoy the ride. She says that anything can be enjoyed, if one makes the effort, and taught herself that. Marilla notes how clever the girl is. The girl says that she did attend school, but not for long, because work in the Hammond household took up all her time. When Anne asks Miss Cuthbert whether she misses her parents, the woman merely replies that they lived good Christian lives before God took them. Marilla in turn is curious to know how Anne became an orphan. And the girl tells her story. Her parents were newlyweds, poor as church mice. When their daughter was 3 months old, they died of fever. Marilla and Anne arrive at Mrs. Spencer's. It turns out that a mistake truly was made, because someone passed along the message incorrectly. In any case, Anne does not have to return to the orphan asylum. Mrs. Blewett, burdened by her large family, is looking for a girl to help her. The woman immediately makes it clear that Anne will have to obey her unquestioningly and speak only when spoken to. If the girl shows any disobedience, she will quickly become acquainted with Mrs. Blewett's boot. Realizing what conditions await Anne, Marilla suddenly declares that she and her brother have not yet made a final decision. For now, she intends to take Anne back to the Green Gables and discuss everything with Matthew. Seeing that his sister has returned not alone but together with Anne, the man smiles. He is very glad. Marilla asks him not to rush with questions and to discuss everything in private. She is not yet sure she is ready to let Anne stay, but she has a week to decide. This will be a trial period for Anne. Marilla explains to the girl that in this house she must follow the rules, be obedient, not leave her clothes scattered about, and be sure to pray before going to bed. Anne says that she does not know how to pray, no one ever taught her, and asks the woman to show her how. Miss Cuthbert patiently explains, telling Anne to kneel, thank God for all his blessings, and modestly ask him for what she desires. The girl does so. She has many wishes, but she voices her dearest wish, that the Cuthberts will allow her to stay in this house. Only now does Marilla fully realize what she and Matthew have gotten themselves into. The woman wakes up early in the morning and does not find Anne in her room. It turns out that the girl woke up earlier and has already collected the eggs in the henhouse. She could not sleep from excitement. She never stood a chance of not falling in love with the Green Gables. Later after breakfast, the girl helps Marilla hang out the laundry. The woman decides to sew a new dress for Anne, because the old one no longer fits her. The girl would like an azure dress with ruffles and lace. Miss Cuthbert says indignantly that Anne is very vain. The dress will be brown because it is a sensible color. Anne is not upset at all. She can imagine the dress to be more fashionable. Rachel brings Marilla some griddle cakes, but in truth this is only a pretext to learn more about the adoption story firsthand. At that moment Anne comes downstairs to boast that she has learned a new prayer. Seeing the girl, Rachel mockingly remarks on how plain and unattractive she is, and has always been subjected to bullying because of her freckles and red hair. Rachel's words wound her deeply, and Anne shouts that she hates Mrs. Lynde, that she is fat, clumsy and insensitive. After that, the girl runs out of the house. Rachel insists that Marilla must urgently return the girl to the orphan asylum. However, although Marilla does not approve of Anne's behavior, she takes her side, believing that Rachel acted cruelly when she spoke about the girl's appearance. The woman will most certainly have a serious talk with her. Meanwhile, Anne runs without stopping until she finds herself at the edge of a cliff. The girl is deeply upset, thinking that no one will ever love her. Since Anne has been gone for quite a while, Matthew becomes worried. Marilla is certain that the girl will return soon. And so it happens. Anne comes back and apologizes for losing her temper. From now on, the girl will try to control herself. Miss Cuthbert appreciates Anne's remorse, but the girl will have to apologize to Mrs. Lynde anyway, because it was extremely rude. Anne flatly refuses. She is sorry that she upset Marilla, but she does not regret a single word she said to Mrs. Lynde. Moreover, Anne took pleasure in saying them and cannot even imagine feeling any remorse. Marilla forbids the girl to leave her room until she is ready to apologize to Rachel. Anne declares that she will stay there forever. The next morning comes, and the girl still does not leave her room. During this time, she does not eat anything at all. When evening falls, Matthew cannot stand it any longer and goes into Anne's room. The girl says that she is fine. She spends her time imagining things. It helps pass the hours. Matthew advises her to apologize to Mrs. Lynde. Marilla is an extremely stubborn woman and will not back down. But Anne is no less stubborn. She sees no point in apologizing if the apology would be false anyway. It would be humiliating and dishonest. Matthew does not give up trying to persuade her. She is a clever girl and could step over her pride in order to set things right. In the end, the girl agrees to do it for Matthew's sake. The next day, Marilla takes Anne to Mrs. Lynde's house. The girl apologizes to Rachel so emotionally that it even leaves her taken aback. Anne says that she should not have taken offense at the truth and expresses regret for her rude words. Confused, Mrs. Lynde forgives her, admitting that she acted cruelly. But Rachel always speaks her mind. Anne is satisfied. If she had to apologize anyway, she decided to do it thoroughly. Laughing, Marilla admits that it truly was thorough. The girl's mood darkens when she learns that the Cuthberts have hired a French boy named Jerry Baynard to help with the work on the farm. Anne approaches him and bluntly says that he is in her way. But Jerry is not trying to take her place. He is not from the orphan asylum. His family is very large, so Jerry has to work. However, this does not convince Anne, who still feels competition. Matthew explains to her that he hired a helper only to put Marilla's mind at ease. This will not affect their decision to adopt Anne in any way. William Barry, their neighbor, approaches Matthew to speak about the Cuthberts' new addition, the orphan girl. The Barrys are a very respected family. William invites Marilla and Anne to tea the next day so that his family may meet the girl. When her brother tells Marilla about the invitation, she begins to fuss, for Anne's dress is not yet finished. The woman also instructs Anne to behave well the next day. Both Barry daughters have impeccable manners. If everything goes well, Anne may even become friends with Diana, who is her age. Anne has always dreamed of this, for she has never had any friends. At the orphan asylum, the other girls mocked her for her appearance and for her imagination. Anne is very pleased with her new dress, which Marilla has just finished, and sincerely thanks the woman. The girl is curious about the beautiful brooch in Miss Cuthbert's jewel box. The woman asks Anne not to touch it. It is a family heirloom. Marilla fastens the brooch to her shawl, and they set off for the Barrys' house. Eliza Barry greets the guests and politely invites them inside. After tea, the girls walk about the garden. Anne does not talk much, fearing she might say something wrong. But Diana turns out to be surprisingly kind to her. She also loves reading, though she does not possess the same vivid imagination as Anne, who is constantly inventing stories. The girls swear to be best friends forever. Back at home, Marilla asks the girl to put the brooch and the shawl back in their place. Anne cannot resist and begins to play with the shawl, imagining herself a beautiful princess. Before going to bed, the girl prays, when suddenly Miss Cuthbert enters the room and begins accusing Anne of stealing the brooch. The girl insists that she stole nothing. Perhaps she lost it while playing princess. That brooch had belonged to Marilla's grandmother and was very dear to her, so the woman decides to send Anne back to the orphan asylum the very next day. The girl weeps, unable to influence Marilla's decision, nor can Matthew. In the morning, as Anne is sent away in the buggy, he watches after her with a look full of sorrow. In truth, Marilla is also filled with deep regret. Suddenly she finds the brooch and realizes that Anne was telling the truth. The woman asks Matthew to hurry and catch up with the buggy carrying the girl. He rushes with all his might, but he is too late. The train has already departed. Anne looks out the window, having completely lost her faith in people. Matthew is broken, feeling that he must bring the girl back at any cost. When Anne gets off the train, a suspicious man approaches her and tries to persuade her to go with him, claiming that the girl's family sent him for her. But Anne realizes it is a trap, breaks free and runs away. Since Matthew's horse is exhausted, he stops at an inn and tries to arrange with the stable hand to temporarily exchange his horse for another. But the man refuses because the horses belong to the inn's guests. Seeing a buggy passing by, Matthew finally makes an arrangement with his acquaintance Sam to give him a ride to the harbor. And again replays in her mind the last words of Miss Cuthbert, who unjustly accused her of stealing the family brooch, while the woman herself can find no peace. She can only hope that her brother will arrive in time. Anne, left entirely alone, believes that she is wanted by no one. The girl cannot bring herself to return to the orphan asylum and spends the night outside. Since Matthew does not return the next morning, Marilla, beside herself with worry, harnesses the buggy and prepares to go searching for him. Rachel blocks her way, saying that her husband Thomas will be at the station that very day and will check as well. Marilla worries for both Matthew and Anne, blaming herself for everything. Rachel, despite her difficult nature, supports her neighbor in this hard moment and brews some tea. Anne approaches Mr. Trevory, the milk delivery man, and lies, saying that her guardian wishes to ask him to take her to the station. Supposedly Anne's wealthy aunt has decided to take her in. Despite the strangeness of the situation, the kind man agrees to take the girl with him. In order to buy 2 tickets for the train and the ferry, Matthew decides to pawn his watch, a family heirloom no less. Out on the street, seeing a red-haired girl, Mr. Cuthbert thinks it is Anne and follows her, when suddenly he is struck by a buggy. As she promised, Anne helps Mr. Trevory collect empty milk cans from various addresses. In return, the man shares his food with her. Matthew regains consciousness. The woman whose carriage he collided with has bandaged his head. The man is disoriented and keeps repeating that he must get to the ferry bound for Nova Scotia. While Matthew continues his search, Marilla does not know what to think. Why are neither he nor Anne back yet? Suffering from a pounding headache, the man falls asleep right at the doors of the orphan asylum. In the morning, one of the workers finds him. The man explains that he must speak to the matron immediately. Broken and exhausted, Marilla offers Jerry breakfast, even though she is not obliged to. The matron of the orphan asylum, unwilling to waste her time on Matthew, irritably says that Anne is not there. By chance, Matthew runs into Mr. Trevory, who mentions a girl with red braids. Anne begs for alms in order to collect money for a train ticket. She offers passers-by a chance to listen to her incredible stories for just 50 cents. When Matthew appears, the girl behaves deliberately cold toward him. Clearly Marilla has found the brooch. Mr. Cuthbert says that a terrible misunderstanding has occurred. He is here to take her back to the Green Gables. But Anne does not want to return to a place from which she could be sent away at any moment. But when he calls her his daughter, Anne's heart finally softens. She embraces Matthew, and together they head back to the farm. Meanwhile, Marilla weeps inconsolably, when suddenly she hears the sound of a horse's neigh. Anne and Matthew have returned. The woman, despite the emotions overwhelming her, remains demonstratively strict, and enters once more the house she had nearly lost. The only thing that saddens the girl is that Marilla still has not spoken to her honestly. The woman is not accustomed to giving in to emotions or admitting her own mistakes. Dinner passes in tense silence. No one can imagine Anne's despair when she saw the orphan asylum again. The girl remains negatively disposed toward Jerry, even though the boy has done nothing wrong. Anne plays with Diana and complains that Miss Cuthbert does not care about her. Diana says that this is not true at all. Rachel saw that Marilla could not find any peace of mind when she realized that Anne had not stolen the brooch. The girls hug. Despite everything, Anne is glad to be back at the Green Gables, yet she cannot shake the fear that her adoptive family might send her away at any moment. The Berrys host a Sunday picnic, to which all the neighbors are invited. The Cuthberts join the picnic. Diana does not approach Anne, fearing that everyone will gossip about her befriending a stray girl. This could harm her family's reputation. Thomas and Rachel Lynn greet the Cuthberts. It was Thomas who told them where Anne was, which made the search easier. The girl can barely hold back her tears as she hears people calling her a stray dog and discussing her red hair. The gossip has already spread, growing absurd details. Some claim that Anne is not from an orphan asylum at all, but from a madhouse. Unable to endure it, Anne runs away in tears. Marilla follows her, and for the first time asks the girl for forgiveness. Miss Cuthbert admits that it is her fault, everything Anne has gone through. These words make the girl stop crying. Marilla offers Anne a chance to start over. Everything returns to normal. The Cuthberts ask Anne to take their surname by signing the family book. The girl is delighted, feeling like part of a family for the first time. She signs the family book, still unable to believe that this is really happening. Never in her life has she been so excited. Her hands are trembling. Thus they officially become one family. Soon after, Anne is to start school. She is full of optimism and at the same time very nervous. The girl desperately wants to make friends with the other children, but what if she is bullied again? Brother and sister see Anne off to school. In truth, they are anxious as well about how it will go. Will the other children accept Anne? On the way to school, the girl rehearses how she will introduce herself to her classmates. Anne believes that if she shows friendliness, others will respond in kind. No sooner does she step inside the school than she finds herself in the midst of chaos caused by the other children. Diana offers to give Anne a brief tour. For now, the girls cannot walk to school together, because Diana's parents have not yet fully accepted Anne. But perhaps that will change very soon, now that she is a Cuthbert. Two boys approach the girls, introducing themselves as Moody Spurgeon and Charlie Sloane. Diana advises Anne not to talk to the boys because they are outrageous, all except Gilbert Blythe, but unfortunately he is not coming today. Diana introduces Anne to the other girls, Josie Pye, Jane Andrews, Ruby Gillis, and Tilly Bolter. Of course, it is hard for Anne to fit in, because most of the children look down on her due to her orphan past, especially Josie, who is clearly popular among the pupils. Jane's brother, Billy, even calls Anne a talking dog. Marilla is visited by Miss Bell and Mrs. Andrews, who invite her to join their sewing circle of progressive mothers. The members of the circle have been meeting twice a month for 2 years already, discussing the education of their daughters. Anne feels that she did something wrong while meeting her classmates, but she does not know what. This school is very progressive, even the youngest children study here. Suddenly the girls see Prissy Andrews and their teacher, Mr. Phillips, together in the storage room through the window. Anne asks Diana in confusion whether they are married. Diana replies that of course they are not. Such behavior is improper. Anne says that since Prissy and Mr. Phillips are touching hands, it means they will have children. This is completely new to Diana. During the lesson, Diana whispers this to Josie, who in turn passes it on to the other girls. Thus the gossip spreads throughout the classroom. Marilla nevertheless decides to join the circle of progressive mothers. Perhaps a new experience will help her and Matthew learn how to be parents. During recess, the girls, dying of curiosity, ask Anne what exactly she saw in the storage room. Anne explains that Prissy and Mr. Phillips have a close relationship, which delights the girls. For Anne, this is a chance to fit in. All through recess, the girls continue to gossip. Anne is at the center of attention. But when she tells them about what Mrs. Hammond, whom Anne once helped with household work, and her husband used to do, the girls' mood changes abruptly. They do not wish to dine next to riffraff. Josie suggests that they all leave, before they too become tainted. Only Diana does not turn away from Anne, intending to find out whether anything can still be done. Marilla feels out of place among the women from the circle of progressive mothers. They discuss high literature and feminism, a term unfamiliar to Marilla, who is far more down to earth. Once again Anne finds herself an outcast among the girls. Even so, Diana offers to walk her halfway home. Anne believes that tomorrow will be a better day, because she has not yet made any mistakes in it. Rachel is astonished and puzzled when she learns that Marilla attended a meeting of the Circle of Progressive Mothers. In Mrs. Lynde's opinion, those women are wasting their time, imagining themselves suffragists. Rachel raised 10 children and is certain that she knows better how girls should be brought up. Soon the girl appears and says that Marilla and Rachel inspire her, because they have been friends since school days. The next morning Anne prepares for her second day at school, remembering that she should say fewer foolish things. Suddenly Billy Andrews blocks her path, intending to teach Anne a lesson for spreading gossip about his sister and Mr. Phillips. Gilbert Blythe appears and stands up for Anne. He has authority among the boys, so Billy backs off. Anne is in such a hurry to get to school that she does not even thank the boy. He follows her, insisting that she tell him her name. The other pupils are puzzled when they see Gilbert and Anne enter the school together. The boy is not embarrassed at all by the fact that Anne is an orphan. Josie and the other girls demand that Anne never speak to Gilbert again, because Ruby has been in love with him for 3 years. And it seems that Ruby is not the only one. Marilla is bewildered when she is expelled from the Circle of Progressive Mothers. The women also insist on homeschooling for Anne, believing that it would be better for everyone. Marilla and Matthew do not yet know what has happened, but they intend to find out as soon as possible. During the lesson, Mr. Phillips asks Diana to read a poem. But the girl cannot read with expression and receives a reprimand from the teacher. Then Mr. Phillips asks Anne to read the poem. She pours all her emotion into it, which causes laughter throughout the classroom. The girl avoids Gilbert, who persistently seeks her company, and shouts at him that she is not allowed to speak to him. Matthew goes to the lines to find out what has happened. Rachel, already aware of the latest gossip, tells him everything. Matthew passes it on to Marilla. The woman finds it unbearable to think about such filth. It is such a disgrace. But Matthew is concerned first and foremost about Anne, for she is only a child. No girl her age should know what Anne knows. Her brother's words make Marilla reconsider many things, and she goes to the Andrewses to apologize for the ugly situation. Mrs. Andrews refuses to accept the apology, believing that Anne has stained Prissy's honor. The woman calls Anne a loose girl. Jerry too would like to attend school, which he shares with Matthew. But the boy has no opportunity because he must earn money. Gilbert does not give up trying to attract Anne's attention and presents her with an apple in front of the whole class. This throws the girl into a rage, and unable to restrain herself she strikes the boy with her slate. But it seems this does not upset Gilbert in the least. Mr. Phillips, outraged by such behavior, declares it unacceptable and mocks her before the other pupils. Gilbert tries to take the blame upon himself, saying that he teased Anne. But this is no excuse for the teacher. Ignoring Mr. Phillips, Anne leaves the classroom and runs to the farm, throwing herself into Miss Cuthbert's arms in tears. Marilla is not angry with the girl at all. Anne says that she will never return to school.